Mike, it's good to see you again, and we are ahead of another important Mateusz Gamrot fight, and I guess this was the longest period when you could have him on the mat without any breaks, without him coming back to Poland. Am I right?
Yeah, no, it was great having Mateus at the gym for a long period of time, especially out of camp, because it gives us time to work on new things and really develop. No, normally, when he's there for a fight, it's you. There's a lot going into it. You got to get in shape and really focused on that one fight. But he's been here for quite a bit of time now, with a little more freedom and able to like relax a little bit and really work on developing new techniques and new attacks.
Yeah, so that was exactly Mateusz's point when I was speaking to him the last Saturday, last Sunday, I think. But when I wrote on Twitter that I will be talking to you today, there were some questions from fans, and one of fans actually asked about this thing. If you could point maybe one thing, one special platform when Mateusz developed the most, in your opinion.
I mean, well, this is not stuff that we want to give away, really, but I would say riding, ability to control and stay on top when we get on top, and I would say takedown setups. You
Oh,
know,
I think
these are small details, but these are important details.
I think many Polish fans will be relieved when they hear this from you because that was, I think, one of the topics that was constantly raised about Mateusz and his game. We know that he's a chain wrestler guy, but sometimes there was a missing point of controlling guys. So we hope to see this new version of Mateusz this Saturday. Uh, which do you there was a long time between these fights, the longest gap between Mateusz fights in the UFC. The situation was rough at some point. The Polish fans were getting frustrated after another month without
As
fight.
was he.
Yeah. So my question is, did you feel it from Mateusz? Did you see it from the mat? And if so, how could you were you able to point his frustration to the work to getting better?
I mean, we were working on getting better, but he was frustrated and every day wanting to get a fight, asking, "Hey, I want to get a fight. I want to bother these guys. I want to. Can you talk to Dan Lambert about pushing for me a little bit? I'm like, no, yeah, I can do it, but Dan knows Dan is trying, but every day he was so eager to fight and wanting a fight so badly. No, he's got a strong mind, a strong will, and one of the guys that like real good like team leader. He's a guy that you want leading your team, who he's a real warrior and just eager to go to battle. And for him, it doesn't matter who. It could be anybody. It could be the champion or a new guy just signed. He does not care. He'll fight anyone, anywhere. He's really that type of guy. Uh, an impressive mindset. A guy who's really a team leader.
Now, before we move on to Ludovic Klein, let's just for a second stay on last year and on August. This fight with Dan Hooker, we know how it ended on the scorecards. A really close fight. Great first round when we thought that Mateusz was so close to finishing Dan Hooker. Do you share this opinion with Polish, but maybe not only Polish fans, that he was robbed, or in your opinion, it was just too close to call it robbery?
It was I think in my mind he's clearly the better fighter,
Mhm.
but he made it too close. It was too close. We A little bit of bad luck where like in the end of the round he would like lose position or Hooker would get on have good moments at the very end. And just history shows us the end of the round is what scores heavier by the judges. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. Probably wrong. But I can see where it could happen. I was worried about it. And also being in Australia, the crowd was going crazy for everything that Hooker did. I mean, I was worried about it when it happened, so like I knew it was a possibility. I knew that it wasn't like, oh, we have this as a slam dunk. You know, I knew that Gamrot was the better fighter, but I was worried about how that decision was going to come
I
and a
see.
little bit of bad luck.
Yeah, I see. So, in your opinion, it is one of the fans' question. What Mateusz lacked this evening? When I was speaking to him, he told me that he worked so hard about conditioning during this camp, not to have the same situation as this fight. I think he might be overexcited in the first round when he was close to finishing this one, and maybe he gas out in this moment.
Yeah, a little bit. He definitely did a little too much. I gotta go back to that time. I think that um, he, yeah, was putting too much energy early on. Let me think exactly what happened. So, yeah, if I remember right, he was winning early on, like destroying him early on in the
Yeah, he was
rounds.
winning like I don't know, first 4 minutes of this
And,
round.
and like badly, like really beating him up. And then some of it was body language. Some of it was like, so later in the round, or later in the fight too, he was taking some bad shots that just looked bad. You know,
Mhm.
forcing the takedown, and it looks like you don't want to fight. And Hooker is like slipping out of it and limp legging out, and he's kind of fanning on the legs, and it just doesn't look good. Even though he's doing the damage. And I thought he was outstriking him, especially early. If he just only struck with him, I think he would have won. But because of how it looked, how he was taking a lot of bad shots and failing on those shots, it doesn't look good in the judge's eye. It looks like you're not getting what you want, and it was burning his energy. He was getting more tired, kind of forcing the takedowns. He wasn't setting his takedowns up. He um, And I mean, I think he got a little tired because he wasn't efficient. He was burning a lot of energy unnecessarily in certain situations. So then he was a little bit slower in other situations. And it really cost him because I really believe he was the better guy, but it just was too close, especially with that crowd. The crowd, every time Hooker did something, was going wild. And yeah, it made it hard to score.
Yeah, I think those are great observations. So, as you mentioned before, Mateusz was ready to fight anyone, ranked or unranked. But this is the first time since Jeremy Stevens, and I think this is June 2021, since Mateusz is fighting someone outside rankings. And I think this shows how rough this situation in the division is, because there are few fights booked, but also there were a few fighters unwilling to fight Mateusz, and he had no choice than to wait like 2 or 3 months more for someone better, but the bigger name, or just having somebody who is up and comer, right?
Yeah. No, a lot of guys have turned him down. Many guys, I'm sure. And I can kind of see why. I mean, he could be champion. He's absolutely one of the elite, one of the best guys in the division, if not the best. He's right there, and his name isn't as big as his ability. Right, this guy is as good as anybody's ever been, and can beat anybody in there. But he's not as popular as how good he is.
Mhm. So when we spoke before, you've mentioned a few times that Mateusz can beat anybody in the division on given night, but there was also always a question: can he finish anybody on given night? And with this camp, do you think that his chances to prove it, to finish fights, because we know that in the division you need statements, right? And this is kind
Absolutely.
of things that fighters that fans sometimes were worried.
No, I think he can. I think he has ability. He has power. His striking has developed incredibly. He's got good submissions. He can 100% finish this fight. It's not always easy to finish a world-class guy. You can't always count on that, but he definitely can and has made big improvements. And, that's what we're going for. And I hope that that's exactly what's happened. I hope he gets a dramatic finish.
So I wonder, did you put a lot of effort and focus during this camp on 12 to 6 elbows? Because this will be the first Mateusz bout after this new rules implement.
No, not really. I
Okay.
mean, I don't think that's a big change. I think that you're already throwing things that are very close. I mean, you can do 1 to 6. 1 to 6 is pretty close to 12 to 6. So it's not like a giant change,
Mhm.
right? I know there are situations where it's going to help. It's going to be a little better, but it's not a big change. 11 to
Okay.
6, 1 to 6 are good. So we're here, okay. Now here's okay. All right. Not going to make giant changes in the fight game.
I see. So let's talk about Ludovic Klein, his opponent. There's another question from a fan. If you could rank him amongst the previous Mateusz opponents, if he's top five, top six of fighters in terms of difficulty, or even though we have to, of course, be ready for everything and we have to respect his level, but we can also be honest and say that he's not on the same level as previous fighters.
But he is very good. He he could pose problems for a lot of guys. He's got very good takedown defense, right? His takedown
Mhm.
defense is very good, or it's improved quite a bit. It wasn't always great, but it's improved quite a bit. Looking at the fight with Thiago Moises is an American top team fighter, a very tough fighter, very well-rounded guy. And Moises didn't come close to taking him down and was hurt many times. So, I mean, in the UFC, he hasn't been taken down too much, right? So, it's not an easy fight by any means.
Mhm.
It's definitely a tough fight. He's just not super well known. I
I
think
see.
he's a guy who's also better than his name, or I don't know if that's the right wording, but he's not a guy that's well known, but is very good.
So could you pose maybe the biggest threats from Ludovic?
Striking, strike down his striking and takedown defense is good, right? His
Mhm.
like he he's got good boxing, he's got good hands, he kicks very well, right? This is no secret, and he's very difficult to take down. He's got great hips. I mean, if you go back and look a little bit older stuff, he was able to guys were a little bit were able to take him down a little more easily. And I don't think his ground is amazing, but I think his takedown defense is very good. Right.
Okay,
So I think
so
once he gets there, I don't think he's great, but getting there is not easy.
so everybody expects that Ludovic should have or maybe can have great success in striking, but do you expect him to maybe shoot or jump the gilly defending takedown?
I mean, I don't expect him to shoot. No.
Mhm.
Ah, he in the past he has. If he feels he's in trouble, he'll shoot, but I don't see him shooting on Gamrot. I think he knows better. I think he knows that he's going to be outmatched wrestling, and I think his plan will be obviously sprawl and brawl.
Okay,
Uh,
I thought that it might be something like of a crazy plan B or C that Mateusz might not expect.
I think only if he's very uncomfortable.
I see. So could you please tell us which fighters were the best in imitating Ludovic during this camp?
We got a few guys that he was going with. He was going with we got a young guy who's a very good striker, Christian Turner, puts
Mhm.
combinations together very well. We got Dakota Bush, who was working a lot with Gamrot. We had a bit of Dustin in there. Uh, he had a good mix. We had a good variety of sparring partners.
So I wanted to ask about Dustin and move on to also other fights because we know, of course, Polish fans will be focused purely on or mainly on Mateusz, but you have as a coach a few important fights. Kayla Harrison fighting for the belt, and of course Dustin Poirier, maybe retirement bout, but I've
Definitely
seen one of
retirement
your
bout.
interviews that you are not sure about it, right?
Definitely retirement bout, but
Okay.
you never know what's going to happen someday, right? Like now he doesn't plan on fighting, but you know, I've seen it so many times. You never know what's going to happen. But no,
So,
he plans on 100% retiring after this fight.
mhm. So I wanted to ask about Mateusz and Dustin sparrings because when we spoke last year, I remember you've said that it was the first time when two fighters, Mateusz and Dustin, were preparing to fight on the same night, and you could see sparrings when they were at the peak of their form. But I guess now the sparring weren't as hard and as strong as last year, right?
No, it was just a couple sparring sessions. It
Mhm.
was, and Dustin kind of came in a bit early to start helping Gamrot. So they only got a couple sessions in. So he was just starting his camp as Mateus was finishing. And yeah, so it wasn't anything crazy.
So, could you tell us about your bond and your relationship between you and Dustin? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Dustin is the fighter that you've had the deepest bond amongst any fighters that you've trained.
No, he's a very close friend.
Mhm.
I've known him for many years, and for many years we would hang out and do a lot of things together. You know, when he first joined the team, I was still a competitor. I was still fighting. I might have had one or two more fights, but we were the same weight class. So, you know, we had a lot in common, and you know, we would train, we hung out, we were buddies. And no, he's it's amazing to see how this whole career has unfolded. You know, he's one of the best to ever do it, and definitely one of the most exciting to ever do it. His resume is incredible. You know, this guy's no doubt a Hall of Famer, and just super impressive every step of the way. Uh,
Did you say that he's still as hungry as last year before fight with Islam Makhachev? Because now we know the stakes are different. There is a belt on the line, but not undisputed belt, and probably it's kind of different when you know you are preparing for your fight when you were saying that this is the last time.
to me, he's as hungry as he's ever been.
Hmm.
He's always the same. Like he doesn't change a lot. You know, part of me is like surprised that he's retiring, just because I didn't think he would ever. Just he has trouble leaving. I feel like I almost feel like it must be a bit of pressure from his wife or something like this, because he is a guy who I just know is having trouble like saying goodbye. A guy who really, you know, likes fighting, and when he's not fighting, he doesn't know what to do with himself. He likes training, likes fighting. That's his thing, and yeah, that's why I have these questions, and that's why I also think his motivation to me seems as the same as it always has been.
Mhm. Do you leave the door to the scenario when, of course, now Islam is out of division, and for example, when Dustin sees Ilia Topuria with the belt, he might think, "I can beat this guy, and let me give one more try."
Yeah, I'd like to say no, that's not going to happen, but you never know. You know, I wouldn't put it past him.
As you mentioned, many fighters turned down fighting Mateusz Gamrot. One of them was Arman Tsarukyan. He said it publicly. And for a long time, we did not see him on ATT mats. So could you tell us if he's gone from ATT for good or he's just now training in Los Angeles?
I mean, I think he's still with ATT. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not his coach, but I
Yeah, I
don't.
know.
No, he's still with ATT.
Okay.
As far as
Okay.
I know,
So
I don't. Yeah.
thanks for clarification. And this Polish colony of fighters in ATT on ATT mat has been growing in last year or two, I think. Of course, even though if they are not American top team fighters like for good as Mateusz Gamrot or Mateusz Rembecki, but you've seen a few fighters coming and training. And the question from Twitter, could you tell us which fighter impressed you the most? I don't know how much time did you spend with them and how close could you look on Robert Ruchała or Jakub Wikłacz or Adrian Bartosiński, but maybe you could leave us some glimpse.
No, like the KSW. I'm not great with the names, right?
Yeah. So Robert Truchała was
Yes,
featherweight
KSW
champion.
champion. Yes,
Yeah.
like
Jakub Wikłacz is
featherweight.
bantamweight.
He's
And
bantamweight.
bantamweight, yeah. Now he left him and Robert. They left KSW and they are waiting to join UFC. Joanna Jędrzejczyk is their agent.
Yes, no, yeah, no, super
Yeah.
high level, super high level. Uh, I thought they would be back by now. I
Mhm.
mean, I think they're
Yeah,
ATT
they are
now,
coming.
no, they're super high level guys.
Mhm.
Um, super. Now I've seen these guys both going with many high level UFC fighters and doing very well. They can definitely compete with anybody in the world. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
So could
no,
you tell us maybe how does it look on so great and big gym as ATT when the some newcomer joins the mat? How hard is it to gain respect, to gain focus from coaches?
I mean, it's not easy, but like when when you're a new guy and you're doing well against we know who's good and who's bad, and honestly, there's not a lot of easy goes in our room. Our room is very tough, one of the toughest in the world. Um, you start getting eyes on you. When you are beating like some of the best guys in the world, people start paying attention to you because obviously they know what you're capable of, and also these are like younger guys, so you're dealing with some major talent.
So they are both trying to get to the UFC in the same way as Mateusz. So without contender series, just straight to the UFC as a champion from KSW. But the Polish fans are getting frustrated because it's been a while and they are waiting for I don't know like half a year, 5 months. Do you think that it might be not as easy for them as for Mateusz because of contender series?
Well, uh, I think Joanna's working on it, and I mean, I think that things are going well as far as I know.
Okay.
I think she has as many connections as anybody in the world, and if anybody can make it happen, it's her.
Yeah, we really wish to see that because she said that like they are in agreement with Hunter or Sean Shelby. She said that in London, but since then it's been 2 months and we are still waiting for some update.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes things move slow. I mean, I've seen stuff like this before for
Mhm.
whatever reason. I don't know, maybe especially those weight classes, they got a lot of fighters there. Maybe they gotta wait till they cut a few to put them in, but I'm sure they're on the list.
So you're sure that, and you can assure us as a fans and journalists that they can compete at UFC level from this moment, no problem.
Yes, I've seen it with
Uh,
my own eyes. I've seen it with my own eyes.
And the other question, Fan, just to wrap it up, just two last two questions. We have, of course, the announced fight between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. You've known, especially Charles, very well because you've been preparing Dustin to fight him. Uh, who is favorite in your opinion? Who will be the next lightweight champion?
I mean, if I had to guess, um, Taporia,
Okay.
just because of, I don't know, he seems so hungry, and the way he's been looking, he seems like he's improving. And I think killing yourself to make the weight's not always, the best thing to do. And maybe even moving up, he might even be stronger.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the last one, I know it was close last year. There were plans for you to come to Poland to prepare Mateusz in Poznań to fight him in Australia. This didn't materialize, but fans are asking, is there a chance for you and a plan maybe to come to Poland in near months or maybe within next year or two?
I mean, I would love to. I mean, the problem for me is I travel so much for work already.
Mhm.
Like I'm on the road so much for fights alone that I'm out of the gym a lot. for the fights. So then it's hard for me to go do a training camp anywhere, to go somewhere to train somebody. I mean, I've done it on occasion. I mean, I did it with Joanna in the past, but it's rare circumstances just because I'm already out of the gym so much.
Yeah, maybe not for a camp, but just for a week.
I would love to, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it will happen at some point.
Okay.
Maybe, you know, before like a European card or something like this, go there for a few days, 100%. And Gamrot is the type of guy that I would love to do it with because he's one of my absolute favorites, always has been. He's the best.
So Mateusz is being vocal about maybe fighting Benoit Saint-Denis in September in France. So that might be a perfect
Perfect. I
circumcision,
love it.
yeah?
I love it. Perfect. No, dude, he's the best. I love that fight. He wanted it. They were claiming they were going to do it. Then supposedly the coaches said, no, 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 we don't want that fight. And I can see why. That's a big problem for them.
Yeah, we can see it also. Mike, thank you for your time. I know it's been a long conversation, so sorry for that. And we are waiting for the Saturday. Hope to see you smiling
War
after Mateusz win.
Gamrot, game time. Let's go.